That's
You
it.
got to admit, that's a great way to start.
Yeah. You know how I love cats.
I do know how you love cats.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite sounds in the world, a cat purring. Yeah, my little Siamese. She's the other end of the room here. Maybe she'll walk over.
Mine is somewhere as well. I took a Claritin 2 hours ago,
Yeah.
so hopefully it will help.
I
How
hope
have you been?
I've been doing good. Just working hard, doing work for you, work for myself, some artwork, some writing. We're getting ready for a big storm here in Los Angeles. Now, this may sound like nothing to the people back east, but by the end of the week, it's going to be in the low 40s here and raining. Now, some
And
parts of the country, it's a heat wave, but here, that's like a blizzard.
now I know last year, Los Angeles, for those of you who are in that part of the world, California, I know you folks got more rain than you had gotten in some time. Is that right?
We did last year. This year, to me, it has felt normal, but it's still early enough in the year we could still get deluged. You know,
And last year, I think that you get an average of 13 and a half inches per year. Last
something
year,
like that.
what was it last year? Do you know?
I don't know. I'd have to look that up. But I know there have been some times where we just get deluged. You probably remember from when you lived here in LA. I remember about 10 years ago, my sister in Colorado was flying out here to visit me, and she wanted to go to Disneyland. That was the whole point of the trip. The night before she was leaving, this big monsoon storm was coming into Southern California, and I had to break the news to my sister, and she was like, ah, shit. But she came anyway, and it poured so hard the whole time she was at Disneyland, but she looked at the bright side of it. No lines for the rides. She said,
Oh, wow. Very nice.
there
Very
you
nice.
go. That's the silver lining in the rain cloud.
I don't know. I heard you guys doubled it. So what would that be, like 26 inches? I know Lake Mead is covered again. So, I mean, and I know that they, yeah, isn't that crazy? And they had so much rain when your snows melted that they had to, what was it, deviate? It was deviated, or what do they say? Diverted. It was diverted to other areas.
Well, I
And
heard that in Need.
I mean, a lot of flooding happened, but I thought it was pretty great how they were able to preserve the area there. So wherever you're at, we welcome you. If you could like and subscribe, this is our Taco Tuesdays. Grab yourself a taco from the taco truck, a margarita. Yes, you're adults. If you want to drink, we don't care. Sometimes we drink, sometimes we don't. Right now, I am having a delicious cup of tea. The beautiful merch. My merch is in the wash. I do want to give a shout out to the lovely person who sent this bag. And the great thing about these types of bags,
that's beautiful.
Yes. And did you know that this type of bag can double as a tea coaster?
I can believe that. I never would have thought.
So what you do is you take it, and I will tell the person's name, is you can actually fold it up like this.
Yeah.
And then what you have is you have a tea cozy.
That's great.
And then you just put it on top, and that was, you can knit them. And what they do is they keep, well, this one's, I guess we're going to do it this way. Oh, it's because it was stuck. But then you have a nice way of keeping, because, we are on for, whoops, don't want to drop that. We are on sometimes for over an hour, right?
Yes,
And, look at that. I've got myself a tea cozy.
I even like the name tea.
Yes. So it's nice. And it's going to be, oh, I feel so nice and hot. It's actually working.
Yeah.
And I'm having myself a nice Lipton, or either Lipton or Tesla. I don't know which one. And what I do to give it a nice little bit of a flavor, people ask me what I do, just simple things you can do for good magic. Don't you all want to have some good magic?
Oh,
yeah. Let's have some
good magic in my life.
No, it's really very simple.
Yes.
Cardamom brings joy to the home. Did you know that?
I did not know that, but I love that.
So you just take a pinch of the cardamom, you pinch it, you put it in that tea, and you swish it around and say, joy, joy, joy. Ooh. And then the person you give that tea to, it doesn't matter if it's a cranky boss, if you give them a little cardamom in that tea, because of the nature of cardamom. Now, the oil in cardamom is an anti-inflammatory and an antidepressant, so it's also going to help you It's a carminative. It's going to help you with your digestion. So I put a little bit of cardamom in there to give a little bit of joy.
I'm running to my health store after we finish our show.
If you need
I
more joy, yes, if you need more joy, citrus. So dried lemon, which looks like the sun, and dried orange, which looks like the sun. Joy, right? So those are the energies of joy. Anything that has cinnamon. Cinnamon brings
love
wealth.
my
When we
tea.
have cinnamon in our mouth, it brings wealth. So the magic of my tea,
Oh,
I'll show it to you. I put a little bit of milk in it, is that I added the cardamom to bring joy because I wanted to emanate joy for everyone. I brought in some cinnamon for wealth so that we would have wealth in our, but
oh,
also wealth in your words.
ooh.
Wealth in your words, and some star anise. Now, the star anise I used has 8 points.
8 points. So,
Yes, and it's associated with good luck. So anytime you use star anise, it's good luck.
oh, I want to make this. I want to
You
make
see
this
how
tonight.
simple this is? Because everything is energy, and the plants are energy, and
Yes.
everything is connected. And it's not expensive. This is what I say about naturopathic medicine. Oh,
Yeah.
you don't think it'll work? Give it a whirl.
Oh, I
Just go
know.
and make yourself any tea that you like, and when you want to bring the energy out of a plant, say you want to use the magic of that plant in Kabbalah. It's mentioned in the Talmud, by the way, and also if you look at the writings associated with Kabbalah, like Tanya, for example, but the point is that everything in the physical world has a spiritual component, right? Everything in the physical world has a spiritual component. That means that this wand has a spiritual aspect to the wand. And so our physical actions in the world have a spiritual component. So the physical plant cardamom has an energetic vibration that is going to align with your vibration. It also has a physical component. The physical components of cardamom are that it aids digestion, it's an antiseptic, it'll kill off certain microbes. And as just smelling cardamom helps with nerves. Now we know that the
Rosemary. When you
right.
sniff memory.
Remember when we went into the 10 cranial nerves, and remember when we talked about the relationship between the first cranial nerve and the 10th cranial nerve, the olfactory, where you smell something which connects with the 10th, the vagus nerve, to increase ghrelin so that you're hungry. Remember we went through all of that, and then the stomach has ghrelin, and then we have nausea, we treat with ginger.
Yes.
And we suppress ghrelin with green tea, right? So peasants would suppress the starvation by boiling leaves of tea, right? So the point is that everything in the physical world has a spiritual component.
Yeah, it's
So,
like the ripple effect.
right. And when we look at the doctrine of signatures, which is that you can sometimes physically see certain things. For example, the walnut looks like a brain. The walnut looks like a brain.
Right.
What's the walnut known for? It's loaded with omega-3s, which feed the brain.
Yes.
The doctrine of signatures. So what do you see when you get to the 8-starred star anise? Luck, the good luck of 8, which is also associated with the rabbit. And I'm a rabbit and I'm an 8. So you want some lucky
I'm a
star,
rat, and I'm a rat.
that star anise. So when you squeeze it, you are asking that plant, you're pulling the energy, the vibration that's beyond the physical. And that's why when a witch does her magic,
Yeah.
at least this is how the Sephardi do. I lived in the Middle East. I saw what they did.
Yeah.
But they do it but always with the right hand. See, I'm giving away our secret.
Right hand.
All right, it's okay. Yes, it is Kabbalah.
Mm-hmm.
But always with the right hand. So when you do the bracha, because Hashem gives the bracha, like the blessing, Allah or God gives the blessing, but it puts the medicine. So the power is not in the plant; it's always from God. But that you ask God to help in the service of that plant for that intention. And you just let the medicine do its thing. Sometimes practitioners will put their hands over the medicine. If I make medicine for a particular patient, I will I will take the medicine, the herbs, and I will run them through my hands, and I will think about the intake. I will think about the patient because I know the vibration of that patient, and I know the vibration of those plants, and that's why the plant medicine is intuitive to me, because I feel it in my fingers, in my hands, and so when I send it to the other person, it's with that intent.
Yeah, I know when we were working together, we only briefly touched upon herbology. We never got as far as we wanted to, but I'm just fascinated hearing this. And I'm also thinking just how comforting it is. It sounds like the plants are actually a conduit for God's energy.
Yes, exactly.
I love
So
how you talk about matching the vibrational energy of the person with the vibrational energy of the herbs. And, you're infusing your own energy into this. That's
mhm.
amazing. I'm loving our show. It's a very comforting show. You show cats purring in the opening. Now we're talking about warm tea and herbs. You got
Because I love you all too much to be in war about politics every day.
oh yeah.
We're gonna do it here today. We've got a lot to talk about actually regarding all of that. I think we need to do the empath prayer and start bringing other people in. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay, for those of you who know the empath prayer, it is a collective reading prayer. It's been created by the collective. Anyone can use it, change it, do what you want with it. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Excuse me. All right, let's go. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community. Excuse me, as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively, excuse me, we say amen. Excuse me, sorry. Do you want to start saying hi to people?
Hi to people. Yes, let me look here. You had me all relaxed talking about the tea and everything there in our prayer.
Sorry about that.
But I see our wonderful dog, Brady is saying hello to us. We've got glasses on right now. I could read this better. Cheryl. Cheryl says a question here for you. Will the herbs take away pain, take away aches? I think you answer that.
It depends on what the cause is.
Yes, exactly. Let's see. But Cheryl says hello.
I might need diet exercise.
Oh yeah.
It's a chronic inflammation.
Chris. Yeah, we got a lot of good friends out here. I recognize names that I have spoken to on the phone because, as I say, I act as Whimsy's assistant, and sooner or later, a lot of you will get a phone call from me as a courtesy call from Dr. Whimsy. Let's see here. Create Love says, hello, beautiful souls. Oh, hello, beautiful soul, right back to you.
Oh my goodness. Well, let me go over to the other line here where sometimes we can't see everything, like Diane T. Debbie Brady, of course, creative director. Also talent management for up and coming talent, though I can't say you're up and coming anymore, Chuck, because everybody on the streams knows who you are.
I even got recognized on the street once here in LA. I think I told that.
What happened? What happened?
Oh, a nice man named Bryant. He called out to me and said, You're Chuck. You're Chuck from Taco Tuesdays. And that was almost surrealistic. I've lived in Los Angeles for 38 years. I'm used to meeting celebrities.
Right, but now you're
First time in my life, I had someone call me out. Well, talk to me.
You know why, right?
Well,
because you saw the signs and you jumped ship.
I saw the signs and I jumped ship.
Well, you're still in SAG.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Gotta look at your
But yes,
facts.
this is definitely the future. I talked to a lot of your people,
You might
and
not like Elon Musk, but he says the same thing. That's why they're doing this
yeah,
on X, which so we got to take this over to X because Hollywood is dead.
yeah. But I was going to
Goodbye
say,
to pedophiles.
yeah,
Goodbye to all of that.
yeah. I
Now
was
we
just,
need to be free.
yeah, I was just going to say, I talked to a lot of your people, and I'm consistently hearing people are not watching television much anymore. They're watching YouTube. They're watching shows like this. So that was a big education for me, delightful education. We're definitely on the ground floor of something really big here with all of this that's going on right now.
Look, so we got Kim Hines here. Hello, Kim.
Hi, I'm sorry. The time, I'm in the Midwest. You're on the, West Coast, and so, and I can't. I had to switch from my computer to my tablet, so I don't think you're going to see me,
Oh,
but you
that's
can
okay.
hear me.
Oh, well, we can hear you.
So, wow. Well, do you want to interview her now and switch things up a bit, or do you want to come back at 6, which would be in
I,
40 minutes? Up to you.
in 40 minutes, I can come back.
Okay.
I mean, it's not going to get any better as far as seeing me, but
We just love you, though, and I want to say for those people who have not discovered this woman, Kim Hines, she is as great a writer as Jonathan Franzen, and I mean that. She is up there with Girl, Kim. Oh my God, we need to talk. Come back, go get yourself some dinner
okay.
or whatever.
Yeah,
But
it's gonna be
you are something pretty damn special, lady.
Well, gosh, thank you. I'm blown away. I'm absolutely blown away. Wow.
Now I can read portions of your book, or you can, but damn girl, and he's a great writer. But the opening, oh my God, you were right up there. I'm sorry, I'm going off on her because I just love her book so much. But were you influenced by Charles Dickens? I was like, it was the best of times. It was it's like the opening of her book. It was the best. It was the worst of times. I mean, it was like it was this and the dog and the this and the that. I mean, damn, this girl can write. Hey, we better let you go though because we've got a whole show to
She
do.
likes your writing.
I like it very much. Okay, we'll see you at 6. Okay, we're putting you back in the green room.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, Kim.
Damn, can she write? Oh
Yes,
my Lord. Gosh darn. I can't wait to introduce her.
Hey, because you choose the books each month, and I've been doing the show since July. Every month, every single book you have sent to me has been such a treat.
Yes, and I wanted to announce if you are a writer and you really want to be discovered as some kind of little gem on this little gem of a channel, gosh darn it, I know that Chuck and we both love books so darn much.
Yeah.
Please send them to me, 1819 Southwest 5th Avenue, Portland, Oregon, Suite 116, Portland, Oregon, 97201. The information is in the channel description. But yeah, 1819 Southwest 5th Avenue, Suite 116, Portland, Oregon, 97201. We have another book, by the way, next month. If you didn't catch this book, check out Don Daniels. He is our next person next month. I thought I would announce that. I have to go change this up, by the way. My video is doing that mirror thing again, which
mine is too, because I was trying to do a cute little thing and point to you, and I saw that my finger was going in the opposite direction. So
you have to go up to the video and then switch off the blue. But
I forget what I do to demirror this.
This is going to be so damn good too because we love our aliens here. Evolution Through Contact by Don Daniels. Evolution Through Contact, Don Daniels. And so we will have him on next month. After that, we have no idea who our writer extraordinaire is going to be. Could it be you? Could you be the one we pick in February?
Me?
No, we picked him for February. In March. The other thing I wanted to say is that February is the month of love and romance. Ooh la la. And so Chuck and I For the month of February, we will be given lots of love and positive energy from the stream. So you'll want to be checking out our pre-Valentine shows. Also, if Debbie would do the honor, while we're doing the show, if she could draw a name from our fan pages over at Facebook. Again, the amazing Debbie Brady. As I mentioned, she's a creative director, visionary, and an amazing talent manager. If you really want to be famous doing your thing on YouTube or wherever, you know, she may be the manager for you. She'll work you hard. Did she not turn you into an amazing performer? Like, did she not work you?
She has worked me.
You
But yeah. No, I'm very, very grateful.
Look, if you want to drill, look, sometimes you need a drill sergeant. She does that.
I prayed for that. I literally prayed for someone tough to take me by the hand and lead me where I needed to go. And
how tough was it? How tough was it?
Well, it's been a lot of work. I mean, there's no question. You know this yourself. You know, you do.
It is work.
You shows yourself.
Now you're making it.
You know, I shoot 3 videos a day for my channel, do a live stream there, the live stream here. It's all good. And of course, we're launching a channel for Sasha, my Siamese cat. So that's
and
more of it.
You're working part-time and you're able to make a little money as a performer.
I'm loving it. And I'm doing my art. I'm doing my writing. I'm living a very creative life right now.
Yes, and what I wanted to show people is that that's what it is to be an actor, a performance artist. A lot of people think that I should only do tarot. No, I'm a performance artist. I'm a naturopathic doctor, but I also like to do a little theater. I like to sing and play the guitar. Don't be limited, man.
Exactly. Well, it's just when you touch the arts, you're touching God. You're letting God, you're letting the universe speak through you and express through you. And the more avenues we take, the more avenues of expression we're giving God and the universe. That's the way I feel.
Speaking of which, talk a little bit about your art. What's going on with your art? What do you got for us today?
Well, I've got a few commission pieces here, but I had to find something before the show to show you. And where did I put this? I just sat it down a moment ago. Oh, yes, here it is. This is a portrait I did of my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't she a beauty?
My God.
Yeah.
Oh, she looks like a movie star.
Well, you know, she did. She, I always thought she looked a lot like Ava Gardner in her day. But you know who she got compared to? I may have told this story before. She was compared to the young Shelley Winters. You know, and Shelley Winters used to be very
only your mother has a nicer nose. Your mother has a more classic nose.
I think so too. Yeah, my mother is quite beautiful. And, you know, I've always loved the old pictures of my mother because, you know, not to get into a lot of heavy stuff, but I think it was the only time in her life where she was really happy. She was really in her spirit. It was when she was optimistic. And I always see that in the photos. So I always like to capture that. It's a side of my mother I didn't get to know by the time I came around. I was a late life baby. That's why I have a mother here from the 1940s. She had me very late in life. My sister and I are 14 years apart.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it was one of those late life babies. It's like time is running out. We're going to have another kid. We better do it now. Hence, I came along. But I love the fact that I had a mother who was a beautiful, glamorous woman in the 1940s.
She was indeed. Was she a Rosie Riveter?
You know, she was actually. She used to, it was the Maryland Proving Grounds. And my father was in the Army, and my mother used to drive a Jeep, you know, transporting ammunition back and forth. So in that respect, yes, she was a Rosie the Riveter type. You know, a lot of women during World War II were doing a lot of the men's jobs because the men were away at war. And my mother said that was the happiest she ever was in her life. She said she loved that job.
Wow. Yeah.
I loved being empowered during World War II, breaking out of those old traditional roles. I think it made her feel very alive.
Yeah. Well, you're a beautiful artist. Now, if anyone would like to commission you as an artist, How would they go about doing that?
Well, you can reach me at my Gmail, dransfieldchuck@gmail.com. You can go to my website, chuckdransfield.com. There's a link on there where you can contact me and email me. Either way, you can reach me that way.
What about also negotiating commissions through your agent? I mean, through your manager also?
Yes,
If
wonderful
Debbie,
Debbie.
yeah,
Yes.
another way of doing it. If Debbie can negotiate it for you.
I'm always open to commissions. I
Yeah.
can do just about any medium you want. I can do canvas paintings. I can do watercolors like this, watercolor, colored pencil, just about anything you want. I love working with people, to give you what you want, what makes you happy, whatever
Well,
that
I
is.
love the yellow of that dress. That's what I loved.
Thank you. Well, it was done from a black and white photo. It was my father who told me it was a yellow sweater she was wearing.
Oh, wow. How beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, breaking news out of Midas Touch regarding an expose that just came out. When did I write this? Do you remember when I wrote this, Chuck?
Didn't you say
September 11th, 2018.
Yeah, I was thinking something like 4 years ago.
Yeah, you want to talk about it? What happened today on Midas?
What did happen today? I didn't see the news today.
Regarding a drug problem at the White House?
Yeah, the drug problem at the White House. Oh, yes, of course, we talked about that. I think my initial response was, what's new to that? I always, because we're so intuitive, I always knew something was going on with Donald Trump in that respect. All you had to do was watch the man's afternoon news conferences. I don't know if people remember those. They were frightening, the way that man would go off, the way he would start cussing, not cussing out, but yelling at reporters and getting offensive. And I've been around people who have been drug addicts. I've been around that behavior. I recognize it. And I always suspected there was some kind of substance abuse going on. That was just me, my personal opinion.
Yeah, so I went ahead and put a link to an article I wrote as a doctor in 2018 based on what I saw and putting the pieces together. So it was a combination of me looking at data and me. I hear a whistle. Is that you?
No, I think that's coming from your end.
Oh, nice whistle. So if you want to open the article, it's basically, I'll read through parts of it. It says, I believe our president has a drug problem. I believe our president is addicted to prescription drugs, and that this is a global crisis, and we need to talk about it. I believe the president's handlers are aware of his addiction and are actively working to prevent the American people from finding out about it or choosing to ignore it. I say this understanding that I have only circumstantial evidence to support my claims, and that I lack the authority or political clout to do much about anything about it. I hope I am mistaken, and that if I am right, the president will receive the medical attention he needs. I'd like to read this entire article, if that's okay with everybody, and you can follow along. It's that awful feeling, right? We want to go with our gut as remote viewers. It's not just about data collection. That awful feeling you get when you put the pieces together and they spell addict. I came to the realization a few days ago as I watched, along with many other Americans, the president's increasingly erratic and emotionally unstable behavior, which had only grown steadily worse over the last few months. And while many experts have pointed to aging or persistent Russian investigation as the cause for Mr. Trump's mental decline, I would argue that his behavior predates the Mueller probe or his senior years and is far more characteristic of prescription drug disorder. The dual diagnosis is important. I believe he has a prescription drug abuse coupled with dual diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. This was my diagnosis. The dual diagnosis is important to note as it gives us a clue into some of the types of medications that Mr. Trump may have been prescribed by his doctor. In plainer words, he became addicted to the drugs that he was prescribed in order to treat his medical condition. What do you think about that?
Well, I was going to ask you, do you intuitively feel it's just prescription medications, or could it be outside recreational things? Like, I always suspected the man was on crystal meth or cocaine. I always thought his behavior was very consistent with that sort of thing. But of course, it also could be abuse of Adderall, which can be similar to crystal meth. But
Well,
so
let's let's take a look at what the crazy whimsy lady with the doctoral degrees has to say.
Okay.
Who's a psychic? No.
Yeah.
When it looks like an addiction and it spells addiction, I have come to believe that, like many Americans, the president has become another victim of what has become a national crisis. We are a nation addicted to prescription drugs. Specifically, we are a nation addicted to amphetamines, sleeping pills, anxiety medications, antidepressants, and painkillers. And I want to say that's what I think happened to Elon Musk on that plane that day. I think he hadn't slept for several days and he popped an Ambien. So what happens when you're a man keyed up and you haven't seen anybody, and you've been living on coffee for 3 days and you pop an Ambien? You can have a psychotic break.
Oh,
right?
yes.
You don't know where you are. You see a pretty girl stop by. You think you're in one of those types of dreams. Same thing happened to Tiger Woods. I'm late. I'm late. I'm late for a very important date. Strung out on Ambien, got into his car and thought he was going to fly across the ravine, because you can do it in dreams, right? And what did he do? Ended up driving into the ravine. Yeah. This is the danger of Ambien. And this is also the danger of being famous, because if you're somebody big and famous like Elon Musk or Tiger Woods, you can't admit that you've got a prescription drug problem and that you were up at Tesla or wherever for 4 days straight, and you took an Ambien and you had a psychotic break.
Yeah.
So this is a problem. You can see it. You can see it in people's behavior. But to go on, I wrote earlier in the year, Mr. Trump's personal doctor, Harold N. Bornstein, claimed that his offices had been raided by Keith Schiller, Mr. Trump's longtime personal bodyguard, his personal attorney, Alan Garten, and another unnamed man. According to Bornstein, prior to the raid, he had fallen out of favor with Mr. Trump after admitting the president was taking medication for hair loss. So Bornstein was under investigation for writing prescription drugs for addicts out of New York. What do you think about that?
It's disappointing, of course, but it's not surprising to me, because of his erratic behavior. I kept thinking as you were talking, I used to have a roommate many years ago who had a meth problem. Hence, he was not my roommate for very long. But what he would do, the meth would keep him awake for like 24 to 48 hours.
Right.
He would crash, but you know what he would do? He'd take more meth to get himself back up again, and it was just this vicious cycle. And after 3-4 days of this, he would start acting completely psychotic. He'd be out of his mind. He'd be irrational, until he finally just crashed for the weekend and slept for 2 days straight. But you made me think of that when you were talking about Elon Musk and Tiger Woods and the delusions from Ambien. It was similar to what I witnessed. And I know how frightening it is. So to have it be the president of the United States, the man who, to use a cliche, has his finger on the button for the he has the nuclear codes, that's
very dangerous. Ambien is so dangerous when you fly, not just because of these incidences.
Yeah.
You get a businessman who's 6'2", boxes.
Yes.
This is a threat to the people that are flying from point A to point B. And so many people have had psychotic breaks on Ambien.
Yeah. I've seen that happen a lot.
They take it. For example, if they fly a lot, they've got to get to sleep now so that they can wake up in time when they get to Paris or Italy or wherever. But man, it's dangerous.
I tell you, Whimsy, I never made the connection before, because it seems like in the last 2 or 3 years, we've been hearing so many news stories about people going ballistic on flights.
Yes, it's
having
so
to be restrained. And I never thought of this connection sleeping pills, Ambien, as you said, people have got to regiment themselves to sleep and then get up to make their business meetings or whatever.
Yeah, so I do, as you guys know, I do continuing medical education, and some of it is in drug interactions, addiction, etc. And so this was something that was a continuing education credit, was increased flight risk due to Ambien. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can believe that.
Wait, like the stewardess getting attacked, right? By the time the person wakes up, the drug has a half-life of what, 4 hours? By the time the person wakes up and realizes that they've punched somebody or they've seen snakes, one woman began hallucinating that there were snakes. One woman, the guy is a demon. They had to drag her off.
Yeah.
You're asleep, so you become like a schizophrenic.
I used to witness that on occasion with customers in our store. You and I used to work together in the health store in West Hollywood. Occasionally, I would get some customers who their behavior was exactly like that. I had one man who almost grabbed me by the shirt and almost punched me in the face. I never could figure that out, what it was about, other than the person was off the deep end.
Yeah, I think it's
That's
a very
drug use here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, so now they're saying that Ambien is actually a threat to the safety of the flight crew. That's how bad this is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add with this, if you want to continue to read this article, why we got a dual diagnosis, why we saw evidence of a drug prescription, the fact that the head of, the doctor of the White House was fired for turning it into a place where people were just doing whatever they wanted. Sorry.
Oh, Whimsy. Mila is doing a turn on you with the coughing. I hope.
Oh, it'll be fine.
Feeling better.
This is a 5-year-old. This is her mattress. I took Claritin. It shouldn't be this bad. All right. Do you want to do some blitzes?
Yeah, let's do it here. Let's see. Do we have any questions here? I'm just scanning through this. Terry is asking, I was wondering if that mysterious late night trip to Walter Reed had something to do with a drug overdose.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
Let's take a look.
Want to ask that question?
Sure, why not?
Well, here, that's a good yes or no question for the pendulum. Donald Trump's trip to Walter Reed having to do with a late night drug.
Well, I mean, the point of the article is that a lot of seniors are addicted to drugs because their doctors give it to them.
Yeah, I'm getting a no on that. What are you getting?
What was the question? I forgot.
About if that was the reason he was brought to Walter Reed because of a drug overdose.
Mm-mm.
No, I got a no on that.
He has people watching him a lot.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty certain Trump had people watching over him because they knew how dangerous he was. As we know, there were, I think, didn't even the Joint Chiefs of Staffs purposely defy his orders? Like he wanted to bomb the hell out of some country or something, and they had to.
I think he wanted to bomb Iran or something. Was it Iran, or where did he want to? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I don't remember. I just they had to sometimes purposely defy him because they knew how dangerous he was.
The Ring. So he was helped. The Moon.
Yeah.
Intuition. Fox, the woman who's watching him. Probably Kellyanne.
Yeah. Well, someone here was asking if Melania. I'm sorry, you were still reading there.
Nurturing him. They could have been nurturing his addiction. Sorry, I'm really having a reaction.
Pacifying him. But someone was asking if Melania been addressing addictions so long.
I don't think so. I think she really is somebody who just likes to hang out with her family. Yeah. Her mom has died. That's terribly sad. But I'm more curious if they're getting a divorce because his money is gone.
Yeah, something, I was always of the belief as soon as he left office, she was going to file divorce.
Didn't I say when her son is 17 years old, she was out the door?
I think you did say that. How
Okay.
old is Baron now?
16. Ooh.
I thought maybe he was even a little older now, but it's interesting now that the money is gone.
What do
You know,
you think? Are they still together? Is Melania and
I don't think they're together for love. That's for
check.
okay. My hunch is that they live apart, separate lives. But now, what is the question specifically, please? Yes or no for the pendulum? Are they still together as man and wife? Trump and Melania together as man. I'm getting. Oh, that was a big no. Big no. I think they live their separate lives. That's what I was feeling before I even asked the pendulum that question.
And what card did you get? Did you get an angel?
I didn't pull a card, but let me see here. This is what came up. Risk.
Yeah, it was a risk assessment. She's smart enough to see risk assessment. She made money. Coffin, it's over.
Yeah.
Coffin. Look at this heartbreak. Think about it. Everybody in his life who wants to be in his life needs to be paid. They're not there unless.
That's sad. That's really tragic when you
A letter, and then she's going to divorce him. She will divorce him. The divorce is going to be initiated by her.
I'm just surprised it's taken this long. Do you have your own theories why she stayed with him as long as she has? Actually, hit just came to me because he's always been planning to run for another term. So maybe he's had her on the payroll or something because he needs her to play first lady for him. Maybe that's why she stuck around. He was making it lucrative enough. That's just me. That's just an opinion.
She stopped being in love with him a long time ago. I mean, she used to care when he cheated, but she stopped caring when they made a financial deal. She used to care. Now she could care less.
I'm sure. Yeah. You can only have your heart broken so many times. I just remember when they danced together at the inaugural ball, the day he, became president, their body language. Almost everyone who saw that image of them with their bodies apart, kind of holding each other, dancing, their body language just said everything, that she could not stand to be with him. They were not intimate. They were not a couple. It was so apparent. Also, I remember just the camera occasionally would capture a scowl on her face, or she just looked so miserable and so sad.
That's a really difficult. I mean, she reminds me of those models you see when you go to car events, and they've got to have like a model in the showroom.
That smile.
I auditioned for one of those jobs once when I was younger, but that's what you do. You're just a model. Hey, come look at this car. Come look at this car.
Yes.
She looks like a showroom model at a car event, right? So
stereotypical trophy wife.
Yeah. So her job is to. By the way, did you like my new dress?
I think it's beautiful. I complimented you on it before the show.
Oh.
Colors in
thank you. But no, I always get that feeling when she comes out on an event that it's like the showroom, of a car event or something.
Yeah.
Okay, I had people asking if we could go more into Kate Middleton. As you know, Kate Middleton was in surgery for what appears to be an intestinal blockage. I thought it was a diverticulitis based on the symptoms, and then she had resectioning done. She was in the hospital for 14 days.
A long time to be hospitalized. It had to be something gravely serious. Was it determined it was an intestinal blockage? I was under the impression
that was how it was reported. That's I think in the Telegraph or something, or in Guardian. Yeah. And that makes sense. And also, if you're having a resectioning, it can take about 2 weeks. You don't want to move somebody. It's extremely painful.
Yeah. Poor thing. Such a young woman, too.
Yes, and to have your first bowel movement is extremely painful. And they've got you on morphine, which is bad because that can lead to constipation. I mean, it's a nightmare. Yeah. You're trying to prevent this from happening again. And it usually happens in the sigmoid colon And, it was interesting to see the way that they spoke about it because they said, yes, Kate is back with her family, back at the cottage, and her husband, William, is doting after her. He's so glad she's back home. And I'm thinking, this is such a bunch of crap.
I know. Yeah, people see through that.
I mean, do you think, here's my question to you guys, that he's starting to realize he could lose her? And is that changing him? Because if I was as big a jerk as he is, I'm sorry, but I think William's a jerk for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
But I also see how he was turned into a jerk. But my question would be, does this wake William up? The fact that she could die, what is this doing to William? Is it does he care now? Like, my God, I'm going to lose this woman. I'd better snap out of it. Or does he just not care anymore at this point? So maybe the first question would be, what is their does William care about this woman after this happened? I guess that would be my first question.
Okay. That's a yes or no question for the pendulum. Well, do you want to say, does he care about this woman or does he love this woman? How do you want me to phrase this?
Love this woman, maybe.
All right. Ooh. I hear what I got.
What'd you get?
Well, I didn't get a no, but anybody who does pendulums, one direction's yes, to the side, no, in between, maybe. I was getting a maybe leaning toward no. And it was like, where it made me go, oh, it's like, it's not good between them. Yeah, he cares, but I get the feeling it's minimal. Maybe it's because she's the mother of his children, but I definitely get the feeling there's problems between them. The fact that I got that answer, I could even feel it vibrationally. What did you get with the cards?
It's really powerful imagery. The imagery is that of a garden being watered. And a marriage is a garden that you have to water every day. You have to if you're a man and you're a good man, you need to water that garden. You need to nurture that marriage. And it started off like that. You had this beautiful marriage.
I believe they were in love in the beginning, definitely.
And the garden, he started nurturing another garden.
Meaning an affair, another woman?
They're saying that he, instead of gardening her and the marriage, he went and he gardened somewhere else. So all that energy that goes into gardening or nurturing a relationship went somewhere else. Yeah. And so what happens when you don't water a garden?
It dies. You want to see the card I pulled? Survival.
Yeah.
I think that it's pertaining to the marriage, survival, what you're saying about not nurturing, not taking care of the marriage. I got to tell you, I was actually shocked by the pendulum response. I wasn't expecting that. It was not a no, but it was like, yeah.
Are we surprised? I mean, are we surprised in a way? Because when you get the garden going to somebody else,
yeah,
and look at her, she's all dried up, dead and in the grave. What did you expect from her? That she could just feed herself? She's a human being. Human beings need love. They need to be given and receive, not just be sitting there isolated in a cold castle by herself while you're off watering somebody else.
Yeah, it's sad. No, it's.
So what is she? She looks like a spinster. Her face, the sallowness of her face,
She was such a beautiful woman.
He left her to die by herself. He went off and watered somebody else. I don't know who the hell this person is, but he's got his Camilla. He's got a mistress he's madly in love with who gets all his attention. And now because he's the alpha female future king, he's the alpha male future king. She can just lie and die and not get any nurturing. Look at that. The sun is coming out about their marriage, which means that people who care about her are going to start leaking the story just the way that they leaked the story for Diana.
I was just going to say the parallels here. This is one of the things that surprises me about William, knowing what his mother went through. And now he's basically repeating the pattern based on what you're saying and what I'm finding. He's repeating the pattern with his own wife, treating her the way his father treated Diana.
You know what he plans on doing with Kate?
What?
He's going to put her away.
Oh,
He's got a little house for her. Oh, you'll be taken care of. A little house, put away.
maybe this is getting ahead here, Whimsy, but do you see him maybe even like William marrying another woman like his father did, divorcing Kate?
Well, I don't think that was the original agreement. I think originally it was like, well, I'll take care of you and we'll just, live our lives discreetly. Then it became, well, I'll take care of you and I'll put you in a little discreet cottage somewhere where you and the kids' needs will be met. And then I will go off and do whatever I want. Then it became you in the cottage with the kids. I can do whatever the hell I want, and I will whip you into submitting to this arrangement. So she goes off to her cottage, living her isolated life, which is, I suppose, the cottage she's in right now. Then he goes and spends most of his time with his mistress. Yeah. And then the whip comes. Come along now, girl. Back on your feet. Here comes the whip. Back to work. You've had plenty of time. In your cottage. It's not their cottage. It's her cottage with the kids. He's somewhere else.
In this era, with the tabloids, the paparazzi, journalists, I'm amazed that he can keep this secret. If he does have a mistress, it seems like sooner or later it's going to get discovered, just like Camilla got discovered pretty early on.
Well, with those kinds of cards also, and thank you to the people that this is the perfect Taco Tuesday, conversation. But all right, speaking of that, we're going to close with our favorite villains. That was our last topic of the day. We thought, we always like to close it up with something fun and silly. So I thought, let's do it. Let's talk villains. What do you say? Favorite villains of all time? Go.
Yeah. Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz.
Okay. I could never. Oh, really?
That was my first choice.
And may I ask, just for curiosity, my darling, what was it about? Now, you all understand what we're doing right here, right? You guys all get it. We're talking about which character in, a character or archetype or whatever in Hollywood is your favorite as far as evil people goes. It's got to be campy, like.
Oh, yeah, that was it. I mean, the thing about The Wizard of Oz, as terrifying as the character was, deep down, you knew it was all make-believe. It was all fun. You knew the witch was going to get melted at the end. She was going to get her comeuppance. I was thinking the same thing was true of a character like Cruella de Vil, where it's fun to hate these characters.
Yes, Cruella de Vil is another one. But Cruella de Vil turns out to be really cool in the movie.
Oh, yeah. But she gets her comeuppance at the end of the movie. In fact, there were two with Glenn Close. I haven't seen the one with Emma Stone, but the two with Glenn Close, she did not meet very good fates in either one.
Emma Stone is good.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Excellent. The best is Emma Stone, 100%. And I know what she's doing. She's imitating Katharine Hepburn.
Oh, yeah.
So I know I can recognize, I studied acting and where you will just take a character like Audrey Hepburn or Katharine Hepburn or whatnot. And so you get to see Emma Stone doing Katharine Hepburn. And it's really quite amusing. Yes.
I've got to see that movie. You're reminding me. It was one of those movies I just forgot about ever watching. And I hear it was great. But yeah, it's fun to have these characters. So many times the actors who play these characters suffer bad fates themselves because they're so good. Fans think they really are that person.
Right.
I've heard it happen a lot with like soap opera villains. I was reading a story of one woman. She was in a grocery store. I forget what soap she was on. She played the villainess. And this woman came up with a carton of milk and poured it over her head. And she said, "That's for doing that to so-and-so. You're a bad person." You know? Margaret
Wow.
Hamilton, she used to work, played the Wicked Witch. She was a kindergarten teacher before she was an actress. She loved children, and she spent the latter years of her life trying to educate children that this was just a character she played. Like she went on shows like Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and she said it was just a character. It was just make-believe.
You can see the fake noses attached right here. You can see
Oh, she had a lot of prosthetics.
yeah, you can see the prosthetic starts right here.
The nose. They used a copper-based makeup on her. And I think I told this story once before on the show. She was badly burned. That scene where she's
Oh my God.
all of fire goes up and she disappears. And they had an elevator that lowered her down. Well, in like the third or fourth take, she got severely burned, like third-degree burns. And the makeup artist, because she had that copper makeup on, the makeup artist had to start cleaning it off of her immediately because it would have been toxic. It would have gone into her skin. And she said it was just agony because he had to wipe it off with alcohol on her freshly burned skin.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yes, and she had to go home. She couldn't work for 5 weeks.
Wow.
And you know what else she said? She said that MGM would not even get someone to drive her home. She had to drive herself home, burned and injured. And then she had to heal for 5 weeks before she could work again on the movie.
God, it's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
The early days, it's all coming to an end. And that's why it's coming to an end, because people weren't treated right.
No.
It had to end. That's not how we treat people.
No.
Well, did you have fun, my love?
I always have fun. I always love the show and working with you and seeing what directions we're going to go in.
And now we're going to start the Wingo-Fly. I'm very excited to bring in our next guest. Did you enjoy Wingo-Fly?
I did very much. You said she's a beautiful writer, and it's just always a privilege when we get the authors here on the show. I'm just, more often than not, I'm an excited fan just wanting to meet the person. Just to know the soul that created these beautiful words on paper.
Right.
Is she with us? I hope she's going to come back.
Yes, she'll be, if I can figure out how to do this. All right, here we go.
It's all live, folks.
I'm right here.
Hines. Give it up to Kim Hines. Hello, Kim Hines. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Well, I'm just kind of blown away because, I'm not a novelist. I'm a playwright. And this was my first novel, and it's written for kids. It's not even written for adults.
Something?
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you.
Wow.
I knew that. Okay. Yeah, I just, I don't know. Do you want me to be the first to start, Chuck?
Yes, please.
I mean, the first thing is I couldn't get over the detail. I have a lot of notes here about just the detail you used. I mean, you remind me of Jonathan Franzen, as a writer, in the sense that you're just so detailed. And I mean, when you talk about 1965, your writing is very poetic.
Yeah.
Like Minneapolis in 1965, Chapter 1. Were you interested in reading any portions of this? Or would you
yeah, I can. Because I started out as an actor, not a writer at all. I didn't really get into my writing till later. Go ahead, Chuck.
If I may just say quickly, before I even looked at the back of the book and saw that you were a playwright, I could sense that about your writing. I'm a big movie lover. I love theater. I love movies. And sometimes when I'm reading a book, it feels cinematic to me. Your characters, the way you describe the surroundings, the situations, the emotions. I sensed that about you before I even knew it about you.
Oh, that's weird. What, do you want to know the background on this book?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. I actually started to write little portions of it when I was in my mid to late 20s. And I would have dreams of seeing the title on a movie screen. And, I didn't know what was going to happen or anything. I just kept writing a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And then when I hit my 30s, late 30s, early 40s, I thought, well, there's a grant coming up. I'm a member of the Playwright Center in Minneapolis, and there's a grant called Film in the Cities, and maybe I should just go ahead and make this into a screenplay. And I did that, and I did get a grant. And by this time, I had an agent, and he read it. He said, "Oh, I love this, love this. Let me pitch it to some studios." So he pitches it. And he gets back to me. He said, "Yeah, there's a major studio that wants to film this. There's 2 producers that are fighting over the script." I said, "Oh, well, that's good." And then he said, "They want you to make a change, though." And I said, "Oh, they're going to make me take it out of Minneapolis, right?" And he said, "Oh, no. They love the fact that it's Minneapolis." And I said, "Well, so what is it?" And he says, "Well, they want you to make Christy a little white girl." And I said, "Well, wait a minute. Let me think about this because, I'm trying to think of when I was a little white girl. Let me think. Let me go back. Let me see if I can. I just can't remember when I was a little white girl. Because Christy's based on me, as a kid.
Of course it is.
And
I mean, that's so asinine.
yeah,
I can tell you a
and
story time I tried to sell a screenplay and they wanted me to make a change. I won't tell it here, but I know how you felt because I just said,
yeah,
no way, because it would have completely made everything fall apart.
yeah.
This is your story, But anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just said to say I've been in there.
Well, my agent said, "I'm so glad to hear that you have integrity, because had you taken the money, I would have dropped you as a client."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, okay. Well, I don't see myself being white anytime soon. So, don't worry I'm not going to worry about it. So you don't worry about it." And then I had a friend pitch it in Hollywood, and there was a Black actress that wanted to produce it. She said she also wanted to have a small role in it. And I was very excited. But then she had to pull from it because she was working on another project, and something catastrophic happened to the sets. So she had to pull the money from my project to put it into the sets. And then it was somebody at Minnesota Film Board. And he said, "This is one of those female scripts. Can you make Christy a little boy?"
Oh,
Oh my God. So I was so frustrated after that. I just put it on the shelf for over 20 years.
Off the air, we could talk.
So funny because when I was reading it, I was thinking about all kinds of other books, like Where the Crawdads Sing, the writings of Sue Monk Kidd. I mean, I liked the opening, and I was wondering if you could just read the opening.
Oh, okay. Give me a second.
Do you want to read just the first chapter for us so that people can hear the way it sounds? Because it's so poetic and so beautiful.
This is a 10-year-old kid now talking.
I know, but it's
okay. Okay, give me 1 second here. I'm trying to clip the page so I can turn. Okay. Minneapolis, 1965. It's the summer of 1965, and it's all happening on 4th Avenue and 38th Street in the Negro section of South Minneapolis. A riot. Colored folks are angry that a young colored man has disappeared, and everybody thinks he's been killed, but his body hasn't been found. Someone starts a fire early in the evening. Maybe it was a couple of somebodies. But when the fire started, it's as if it's a cue for other people to start breaking windows of businesses and start looting merchandise and food and clothing and office stuff like typewriters, anything that's wanted, anything valuable. Some people don't steal anything. They just break into places and tear things up and then set fires. Other people start fighting over folks, and some people they already know, and some people they've never known. What? Why do they do that? Who knows what people fight about during riots? There's always so much going on. Not long into the looting, sirens and lights are everywhere. Cops are running up and down the street, hitting people with clubs. Gunshots, bullets whistle through the air from every which way, but the sounds are mostly screaming and shouting and arguing. On the telephone poles, there are weathered posters from months ago. A real old advertisements for R&B, blues, and gospel concerts on faded blue, green, or orange paper. But tacked on top of everything are a few fairly new posters with a photo of a 20-year-old colored man smiling, dressed in a suit. The type beneath his photo reads, "Missing, Raymond Love. Anyone with any information, please call," followed by a phone number. A cop in a squad car stops. Another cop approaches his window, and the one leaning into the window says, "Yeah, well, you better call for some backup. This is really getting way out of hand. Get a wagon down here." The cop in the car grabs his two-way radio and starts barking orders to someone. When he's done, the other cop turns around. Give me a second. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
The cop in the car grabs his two-way radio and starts barking orders to someone. When he's done, the other cop turns around, points and yells at some colored man and woman stepping out of a store, huddling bags of food. He yells at them to stop and drop the bags. But they don't listen to him. They just start running up 38th Street towards Nicollet. The cop turns to his buddy in the car and says, "I'm gonna have to get a curfew going. I don't want to be fighting this shit every night." "How long do you think this is going to go on?" asked the cop in the car. "I have no idea. They haven't found that colored kid yet, so who knows?" Smoke fills the air and darkens the area, but the sky glows the bright orange and yellow fires. I wake up with a jolt. I just saw it all. I heard it all. And I'm not even there. I'm in my bedroom, sitting up in bed. But I saw everything that happened. I saw it all in my mind's eye. And this isn't the first time I've seen things, but it's certainly the most exciting.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah. Thank you, Kim.
That was awesome.
sure.
I love
Sure.
your words, bring the emotion, the power. Yeah, I get your theatrical background. You're an actress. That comes across so beautifully. You could read your own audiobook.
Yes.
You know, people have been asking me to do that. I haven't had the time, to tell you the truth, but I think it's something I should do because enough people have asked for me to do that.
You should tell your own story. That's very apparent just listening
Yeah.
to you right now. I found that very moving.
The character has second sight. Do you have second sight?
Yeah, I don't like to always tell everybody about it, because then, people start asking for lottery numbers, and which I ain't got. If I had lottery numbers, I'd be the first one, cashing in that, all that. But it runs on both sides of my family. My father's side, there's a long line of folks with psychic abilities, and they used to do readings and stuff in the 20s and 30s. And I got a lot of cousins that are psychic today. My mother was very psychic. My great-grandmother was very psychic. My mother, she was afraid of it. She would have the premonitions or prophetic dreams. And she could always tell when something, well, like for instance, both my mother and I had missed seeing my grandfather one Christmas, and we were going to go over there together and bring their gifts over there. And she had driven by my grandfather's house twice and she stopped and she couldn't get out of the car. And then I came from college and I said, well, come on, Mom, let's go. And she looked at me and she said, I can't do it. I've tried. I said, well, why? Why can't you do it? And she said, because something awful is going to happen. Somebody's going to die, and it's awful, and I can't bring myself to go there. It turned out that my uncle died of a heroin overdose, and he was basically murdered because he didn't tell his friends he had gone through treatment, and he was actually suffering from walking pneumonia, but his friends didn't know that. They thought he was suffering from withdrawal, and so they shot him up, and he died. And she didn't know what was going to happen, but she knew something was going to happen. So I mean, stuff like that, you know. My gifts they're kind of all over the place. I've got clairvoyance. I can see stuff. I mostly see film clips or film strips. And they're short little clips. Sometimes I can look at somebody and I pick up something, and other times,
you sound like you're practicing you're accidentally practicing heart-centered remote viewing. That's what it doesn't it sound like?
That's what it
right
sounds
there.
like.
That's me.
Yeah.
My job.
Well, I'm not trying to usurp your.
We're just we're having a laugh with you.
We're laughing.
And sometimes
has this gift.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Oh,
yeah.
Everybody to a degree has this gift. There are just people such as yourself, Whimsy, me to a degree, where we're more attuned to it. We're more sensitive to it. We're able to recognize it. I think it's within everyone. And I can see very threatened by it. Like your mother. I think my mother was threatened by it to a degree. You know, she was very quiet, but I knew she was quite intuitive.
Well, this is the interesting thing also about your book, Kim, is I really liked all the characters. Everybody was a fully fleshed out character, and I felt like you really knew them. I knew your dad. I knew that he was no nonsense the way he was presented. You know, he just said things as it was, even if it didn't sound pretty. Like on page 15, when he just talks the truth about why a Milton's dog Nemo dies. Yeah, they didn't take care of it. I mean, he was just very straight to the point. But the other thing that I was struck with is how Black history is erased. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, about the fact that your father is pointing out that literally Black history is being erased in the media?
Well, I mean, it is. I mean, it's just kind of bizarre. And if you see, I lived back there in 1965, you know, I'll be 70 in a couple of years. So it's like, it's so bizarre to hear my history being told, and it's lies. Sometimes it's lies by omission. Sometimes it's just, they have just totally recrafted what actually happened. And I have corrected people over and over and go, nope, that's not how it happened. I know because I was alive and I saw things and I knew things. And my father's from the South. And so, you know, when the news would come on, he would sit me down. He'd say, look at the dogs chewing up black people. He said, you may be in a safe place up here, but Down there, it's not safe. And you may think you're safe here, but you're not. Not really. There's a lot of subtle racism that goes on. And my father would school me, you know. And I think in the 60s, when they told the news and they told what was going on with Black people, people were so shocked to see the film and the newspaper photographs and stuff. There, people from around the world had not ever seen anything like that, especially in America, and they were just so blown away. And so, you have to go back and look at that and the lynching that continued on. If you ever want to read a book about lynching in America, read the book Without Sanctuary. He's got a photograph of every lynching in America, that a photograph was taken of.
And they're still going on, by the way, too. There's
all day. Yeah.
And I did a review on that. There are people with military training, and these are people that our government paid for them to get this military training, that were part of the military training for Proud Boys and other extremist groups. And they can go in, they can snatch somebody, they lure them to an area, usually using, what I found out was that they lured them, go fishing. They get pretty girls to lure them to areas, and they would lynch somebody within 3 minutes. That's how fast they train to do it. They learn how to do this.
It's deep.
Yeah.
It's very, very.
And then they take it a step further by erasing the crimes, right, Kim?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's it's kind of heartbreaking, and that's why Black people, they have to school their kids on our history. That's what my parents did. Yes. I mean, yeah.
So what I'm struck with, I don't know if you felt danger as the person, if you felt like you, as Christy, the character Christy, I don't know if this is what you intended, but I felt like my world was fragile and that I could be snuffed out at any moment.
Yes, because I went to a church that was very, what we would call bougie, because we had a lot of educated Black folks there. We had doctors and lawyers and stuff, a lot of middle-class Black folks. And this was before true integration, because when integration happened, the Black middle class left the inner city and they moved out to the suburbs. So this was before that great, I was going to say escape from the hood. But we had certain activists here in the Twin Cities that went down south and would help with voter registration. And sometimes there would be young people, young Black people, who would be doing certain things for the NAACP. But since they lived down there, they were targeted. And the activists from up here would help get them out of the South. And there would be times I'd be with my dad after church, and I would hear one of the activists come up to my dad and say, "Well, Dennis, you know of any place where we might be able to house 2 young men and a female? I'm trying to find housing for them. And if you know any jobs down at the post office, and we would try to, my church would try to hook these people up. My church wasn't the only one, but I was very aware of what was going on. And I remember talking to my mother about it. And there's a little piece of it in the book where the mother says, you don't tell anybody anything. And if any white person asks you something, you say you either don't know or that they need to talk to your parents. You don't give any information, because people disappear and nobody looks for them. And these are very dangerous times.
You know what? I did not to interrupt you, but I train remote viewers. And one of the things I did is I just decided to go local with missing people since 1985. Oregon, every single one practically is African-American, male or female, under suspicion. Like, where are all these people going? They just disappear? People just go missing. Like, what the hell? And I hear it's even worse. Native Americans that have gone missing, trafficked,
Oh,
etc.
yes.
How can so many people go missing?
Well, they do. And I spoke to somebody in the 1980s. She was the daughter of a police officer, and she talked about how her father was a part of a group, a clandestine group, who would kidnap young Black people and torture them for fun. They would get a kegger, and they would bring them out to the woods, and they would torture them.
Yeah. I
You
had
know,
one of my clients who wrote a book about this.
hmm
She witnessed it because she was playing with an African American girl, and she witnessed what they did in the shed to her friend.
Oh,
And she was so traumatized by witnessing it, like in the corner watching, that she had to seek psychiatric help. And she was never normal again just from witnessing what they did. So I just wanted to thank you again, Kim. And I feel like your book is so powerful because you are a remote viewer and a sensitive, and you kept your humanity, which is always a challenge in the face of so much humanity. And I give you gratitude and grace for that. And I think you're probably one of the greatest writers we've ever had the honor of interviewing. And I thank you for that as well. Anything from you?
Kim, may I ask you, what was the most challenging part of writing this book for you? I know you
ooh,
with that, but what would you say was the
wow.
most challenging part?
Um, wow, that's a hard one. Um, wow, wow. Well, now this is weird. It was challenging from an emotional standpoint when Christy could no longer. Christy's mother, told her that she was not to see Sister Ray,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
and I don't know. I kind of surprised myself. It was very emotional for me, and I don't know why. And so, and Christy, in the Black household, if mama or daddy says you don't do XYZ, you don't do XYZ, and so to go against your parents, to defy them is a major, major thing. And so it's me as a kid. I was never in that situation, but I felt Christy at that moment, and she needed Sister Ray for survival. She needed her and was being kept from her. And
I can relate to the witchy root woman.
oh, yeah.
We're at chapter 11.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
It's one of those things of when you've got a gift and nobody in your family understands it, or they don't understand you, and you're looking for someone to guide you, to mentor you, and someone you can hang on to, someone who's far more grounded than anyone in your family. And so that was one of the most challenging parts. It was kind of scary too. Oh, and when the white guy is
Following.
going in,
Yeah.
that was hard.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
thank you so much, Kim. I think we're going to have to wrap up pretty soon. Did
If
you
I
have
may
one
just ask
last
one
question?
quick question.
Just go over, but go ahead.
I was just going to quickly, if people want to reach out to you to ask you questions on their own, is there a way they can contact you?
yes, Studio Egg LLC at gmail.com.
Okay. Thank you.
Studio Egg LLC at gmail.com. Yes.
Well, thank you again, Kim Hines, and thank you all of you who have been here. If you'd like to continue to be part of our book club, next month we are going to have Don Daniels with us. Don Daniels, he is the author of Evolution Through Contact, Becoming a Cosmic Citizen. I love these kinds of books. We're going to have some fun with him. He's going to talk about contact. Oh my God, I can't wait.
I can't either.
And the last thing we want to do is we have a winner. If you join our fan pages over at Facebook once a month, we offer a free reading to anybody. Can you see the name? It's hidden.
Let's see. Prina, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Prina Iviza? I hope I said that right, but she's the winner. And
yes, how does she contact us?
well, yes, as soon as I have the info, I will give you a call and we'll set up an appointment.
Awesome. All right. We are out of here. Did you have a great time, everybody?
Whimsy, is there any way that I can speak to you afterwards?
Yes, stay where you're at. Don't leave. I'm just going to say goodbye to the audience. Goodbye, everybody. Be kind to all so that all can be kind to you, too. Well, I'll see everybody tomorrow, Wednesday at 6 p.m. for Introduction to the Tarot with Heart-Centered Remote Viewing. We look forward to seeing you then. The winner, again, is Prina Ivezai. I think that's how you say it. And if she wants to get her free reading, she can go ahead and text me at 323-762-3982. That's a free reading on me. And I think that's it. All right. Be kind to all so that all can be kind to you too. We'll see you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.